Warning, this review contains spoilers for Wes Craven's new Nightmare. Well, after 3 pretty flawed sequels, we finally got one that's good again. Hooray, woo, cue the intro. So why is this movie good? Well, one reason is the relatively complex meta plot it's got going on, which is a huge step up from the Freddy kills people but with a twist formula we got stuck in. Right off the bat, the movie is working on 3 levels. One is the real life people portraying themselves in a movie. Another is the real life depicted in the movie, where the prior 6 Nightmare on Elm Street films were just simply movies. Finally, there's meta elements from outside the story's universe being incorporated into the plot. For example, Heather Lamcap finding the script for the movie she's in. So you're probably thinking, hey, that's kinda confusing. Well, that was completely intentional on Wes Craven's part.
Because there was no place else logically to go that was original, and suddenly it was like, wait a minute, we can do this, and make some interesting comments.
The entire core of the film is how difficult it becomes for us as audience members to distinguish between what is real and what is fake, and how this affects our interactions with others. For example, an interviewer in the film asked Heather Lamcap this question.
And how about your co-star in the original, in Nightmare 1? Would you trust him alone with Dylan?
This one line makes me think of a lot of real-life parallels to how an actor is stuck being viewed in one particular role. For example, Anthony Perkins' role as Norman Bates completely derailed his career because people only saw him as Norman. It's really no wonder people didn't like this film when it was released. Just look at the 7th installments and other franchises. All of them are just the same thing but with a new twist on the tired formula, but doing something different and, dare I say it, deep? Relatively unheard of this late in the series. It made a lot of fans angry, having years of continuity that was built up thrown out the window for this new story. Some even go so far to say it's the worst film in the series because of this, which I find ridiculous. I mean, any continuity that has something like this kinda deserves to go. Putting that aside, there are legitimate problems with the film. Most notably, this kid. Now, it might seem unfair to judge a child performance too harshly, but the way I see it, he's still an actor, and his job is to act. If he's bad at his job, I think it's fair to call it out. After all, there's tons of movies with amazing child performances, just not this one. On that note, some of the things Freddy does in this film are really, really silly.
Hey!
This is in stark contrast to his otherwise more menacing portrayal. I also dislike the ending. The movie up to that point was building up interesting themes of false reality and how pop culture influences the real world that gets dropped to make way for Freddy to do some effect shenanigans. When I first saw this movie, I was like, huh? It's over already? Despite this being the longest film in the franchise so far. It felt like the plot was racing to its conclusion in the last 20 minutes, and failed to feel satisfying as a result. Heck, this is where Heather finds the script to the movie, but they never end up using it for anything interesting. What a waste. But besides those problems, I think the movie is fine. The acting is back to being pretty good again, most of the story is interesting with an added layer of deeper meanings that have been sorely lacking since the first one. And perhaps most importantly, it's fun again. It's not the best film in the series, but it tried to do something new and mostly succeeded in doing so. Therefore, I'm comfortable giving it a 7.5 out of 10. One more. No witty banter here. Let's just finish this.